Basically, the reason is that I need a costume. And I'd be happy to pay you $100 over the rental price for the inconvenience.
Hey, hello, and welcome to my channel. And as you can see from the title, today we're talking about Eyes Wide Shut. And in particular, we're going back to that costume shop because there is literally a piece of mind blowing information that I've noticed and I haven't seen anyone else talk about. And we're definitely going to get into a lot of very interesting details that may hint at some even stranger things happening at the costume shop than we've ever seen before. So let's get started. Now, I know you may be looking at that title, The Costume Shop Secret Location, and thinking, well, what's a secret about it? We see Dr. Bill pull up to the costume shop in a yellow cab and get out and pay the cab driver. And then he's standing in front of the Rainbow Tuxedo and Costume Rental. Also, notice the little store right underneath called Under the Rainbow, because this will be important later. Now, I'm going to show you a mind blowing detail about the location of the costume shop. But first, let's get a little background on why Dr. Bill is there. First, when Dr. Bill is at Ziegler's party, he runs into his old friend, Nick Nightingale, who invites him to come see him play piano at the Sonata Jazz Cafe. And Bill shows up later to do just that. We see Bill descend the stairs into the dim lit jazz club, where we see Nick on stage. They have a drink later at a table with that odd crystal ball shaped light. And Nick tells Bill about a strange party he will be playing later that night. But he plays blindfolded. Bill is intrigued and wants to go. But first, he needs to get a mask and something to wear at the costume shop. After Bill leaves the Sonata Jazz Cafe, we see him pulling up to the costume shop inside of a yellow cab. He gets out and pays the driver, and he walks up the stairs of the building to see if the owner of the Rainbow Costume Shop is there. We then meet the odd Mr. Milich, now the proprietor of the shop, who agrees to open up the shop to Dr. Bill for extra money. Dr. Bill tells Milich he needs a tux and a cloak with a hood and a mask. They then go into the back room, an odd place to display your costumes since no one is going to see them back there. But I'll bet you missed that one mind blowing detail. So let me show you what I found. If you remember when we just saw Mr. Milich walk out to meet Dr. Bill at the front door, now I want you to notice the reflections you can see in the glass door, the neon sign reflections. Here, I'll highlight a couple for you so you can see what I'm talking about. And then see this shot of Bill at the door, and you can see some of those neon signs behind him. You can see there is a pink and blue neon diner sign across the street. But wait, where have we seen this sign before? Remember when Bill was walking to the Sonata Jazz Cafe and he walked by Gillespie's Cafe? Well, look at that neon sign. It's the pink and blue diner sign. That means Bill is literally across the street from the Sonata Jazz Cafe. So, why did he need to take a cab to go across the street? I'll show you a bit more detail just to prove what I mean. You can clearly see the diner reflection here, and then we see that sign behind Bill. Here you can see quite a few reflections. So let's look at each one. See where I wrote soda? That appears to be a neon soda bottle. And where I wrote cafe, we can see a backwards yellow neon sign that says the word cafe. And the most important, you see a neon saxophone next to it. Now let's look at this shot of Bill walking to the Sonata. You can see the yellow cafe sign under Gillespie's. And here you can see I wrote soda over the actual neon soda bottle. These were all the reflections we saw in the costume shop door. And here you can see the neon saxophone. See where we are? We're at the Sonata Jazz Cafe. So the costume shop is right across the street from the Sonata Jazz Cafe. Also notice the Christmas tree in the window, because we passed by that too. So we have to ask ourselves, why would Dr. Bill take a taxi, I guess, to drive around the block? And wouldn't he notice that they only drove around the block and are right back in front of the Sonata Jazz Cafe and Gillespie's, with the costume shop right across the street? It's like everyone is in a little club, and this is all connected. I can't help but feel Bill is being led on and duped, and later in the evening seems to become an unwitting participant in an actual high magic ritual at Red Cloak's mansion party. I should say, another odd connection here may be those two models from Ziegler's party. They literally each take one of Dr. Bill's arms after he's been drinking a bit, and they start to lead him off. We aren't sure to where, and neither is Bill. But then one of them asks Dr. Bill the question, "Don't you want to go to where the rainbow ends?" Which is highly suggestive, considering that Bill will end up at a shop called the Rainbow Tuxedo and Costume Rental, which actually has a second shop underneath called Under the Rainbow. That's too many rainbow coincidences for me. So I believe the two models are in some way connected to the costume shop or to what happens later to Dr. Bill. So, what does that mean, to go to where the rainbow ends? Well, let's ask, does a rainbow even have an end? Because rainbows are considered optical illusions. And I have to say, I think there are many optical illusions in this film, especially since magic is one of the themes here. A rainbow is actually not a physical object, and technically doesn't have fixed points, so no beginning or end. Perhaps a fitting name for this odd costume shop, where I have proved in other videos that the mannequins actually move and perhaps come alive. And to be honest, I am actually starting to wonder if Dr. Bill is somehow more closely tied to these mannequins than we think. Did he used to be one? Or is he just a guy who unwittingly became part of an occult ritual and got initiated into Red Cloak's cult? Kubrick certainly leaves us with some mystery here. So, to sum up, if there was some mystery surrounding the location of the costume shop, I think we have solved it. As we see Dr. Bill pull up in a yellow taxi, it never occurs to us that he has taken a cab literally across the street. But that is in fact the case, as fantastic as it seems, because the Sonata Jazz Cafe is right across the street from the costume shop. I feel more and more that there is some deeper mystery here that we have to get to, and one that definitely involves the concept of illusion, because rainbows themselves are an optical illusion, and the name and image of rainbows is heavily emphasized here. It's no accident. So, is one of the illusions that Dr. Bill might not be who he says he is? I am definitely starting to lean that way, but that deep dive will have to wait for another video. Well, that's my new video about the secret location of the costume shop from Eyes Wide Shut. I hope you liked it. I'm working on something for next week, and I hope to have that up soon. And I want to give a big thank you to my awesome comment section. I love reading what you have to say, so thank you. Also, it would help my channel if you did hit that subscribe button and like the video. But either way, my name is Shim. Thank you for spending time with me, and have a great day.